So first of all, I'm about to lose my shit because I've had to record this video. This is the third time now. I can only pray that it actually fucking records this time anyway. So people, I got asked to make a Karnovs Revenge tier list and talk about the game Fighters History Dynamite. 3 times, dude. Wow. You might be like, what does Clayton know? Well, what do you know about Fighters History Dynamite, Karnovs Revenge? Well, again, my story about the game is years and years ago when I'd gotten a new computer, right, during the GGPO days, and I could finally actually play some old games. I remembered, oh yeah, Karnovs Revenge, Fighters History, Mizuguchi is cool, right? Like, I'll play that game again, right? And basically, long story short, within 2 weeks, I was already doing video combos versus everyone, competing versus the supposedly best in the world at the game. And then, a few months later, I was demolishing everyone. Like, they were talking about me on 2chan. All my videos were getting fucking posted everywhere. I've even posted videos on YouTube of me just demolishing the Japanese, just everybody, dude. Like, I could have kept posting videos, but I was beating people so bad in this game, it actually looked like it was fake. So that's what I know about the game. Hopefully this actually records this time. So what do you want to know about Karnovs Revenge, or what should you know? You should know that the game runs a very fine line between being completely scrub-a-dub and deceptively skillful, actually, right? And if you've watched any of my game theory videos, I've talked about it can be good when a game has a good narrative, when you can see the good characters showing off the game system. This is not one of those games. This is a game where a lot of the powerful characters completely just they look really stupid and really simple. There's not a good narrative for this game, right? So it's hard to appreciate this game unless you actually know what's going on. 3 times, dude. So let's get into the top tier of the game, right? Let's talk about it. So these 4 characters clearly better than everyone else in the game, right? And let's talk about them, right? Why do I think Karnov is the worst of the best of the top 4, right? Karnov is the worst of the top 4 because although he has an infinite, he is doing crazy shit that was not common at all in video games back then, fighting games, right? Just so many fun things. He's a very creative character. He does actually show off the game maybe in many good ways. Again, an infinite, all this kind of stuff. But he does actually have the worst dizzy spot of the top 4 characters. So in that sense, when you think about how cheap this game can potentially be, and don't get me wrong, he can actually jiggy out of combos a bit, even though he's a big character. And I don't know if the community actually calls it something. I call it jigging because I think it sounds funny. You can jiggy his hurt box a little bit because you can move your dizzy spots and move your hurt box where you're being comboed, but it doesn't change the fact that there might be matches where, boom, you got hit by something, you lost, right? What are you going to do? That's the game, right? So he's quotation marks the worst of the top tier, but that's very loosely, right? Why is Ray the best of the top? Well, Ray is the best because Ray, and I'll just move him over here just for sake of argument, right? Or sake of the discussion. Ray and Lee actually have a good dizzy spot. Ray looks like he has a bad dizzy spot unless you know what's going on in the game. Ray and Lee can both duck to hide their dizzy spots, Ray especially, and they can duck to get out of a lot of combos. So when they duck, a lot of combos don't actually work for them. Now, there are a couple of obscure combos very randomly that if, say, Ray ducks, it actually is worse for him to duck. But generally speaking, it's better for Ray to duck because he can just duck out of most combos or big combos, you know what I mean? He's also kind of theoretically almost broken because his fireball and hurricane or the wheel kick, dragon punch are just so powerful for what they are in this game. You know what I mean? If you have quick reactions, I mean, dude, what are you gonna do? I mean, he's theoretically almost broken, right? But one of the problems with Ray is that of the top tier characters, though, he actually does not do good damage, even in the grand scheme of the games. Some of the only characters that he actually does do good damage, though, versus is, coincidentally enough, Lee, Karnov, and Gene, right? Because they can't really jiggy their hitboxes to get away from the electric dynamite tackle. And it actually does decent damage versus them, where it will hit their dizzy spot. So, coincidentally enough, a character that doesn't do a lot of good damage in the game, he actually can do some good damage versus those characters, right? Lee is a very simple character. He has the player one cross up or whatever stuff, palm stuff. He does huge, tremendous damage Again, his dizzy spot is good. He can duck to get out of a lot of combos. Just huge explosive factor. He has actually some block damage stuff. He's a stupid character, right? I mean, you can discourage him a little bit. He can be discouraged, a little bit since you can like hit his uh hit his dizzy spot, out of him when you knock him out of moves a little bit realistically, but in the grand scheme of things, he's just so much more powerful than every other character. He's obviously top tier, right? You know what I mean? Just the explosive factor is just too high. And Zazzy is, I mean, dude, honestly, Zazzy could be the best, right? I mean, just depends on how you think about the game. Zazzy is one of the most complete scrub-a-dub characters ever created in a video game, right? I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, one of the cheapest and stupidest characters ever made in a video game, honestly. It's just, thankfully, he doesn't have a good dizzy spot. He's a big character. It's not like a terrible dizzy spot, but his hurt box doesn't help him in a game. He's not like jigging out of a bunch of combos. He's a big character. DP, his dash, and his 100 hand slap, boom, you could kill a guy right there. He's just pretty fucking stupid, right? I mean, complete scrub it up. I mean, he might not be the best character in the game, but if there was a cheapest character in the game, he's potentially it, right? So, anyway, these four characters, super powerful, much better than the rest of the cast, obviously, right? After that, you take a step down, and Gene is in his own tier, right? Gene is a very simple character, you know what I mean? He does have the 100 hand slap. He can just kill you like that. He's very powerful in a simple kind of way. If you understand and he hides his dizzy spot generally pretty well, but coincidentally enough, a character like Ray actually hits his dizzy spot. Well, go figure, right? Um, you can discourage him a little bit in the game if you actually know what's going on by some of his things, because he's one of the only characters you can actually safe jump. Because if you know how cross-ups work in this game and how cross-ups work depending on if you press like a punch kick, whatever, all this kind of stuff, you actually can safe jump him. So in a game where there's so much cheap shit, when you can actually discourage cheap shit, that's pretty rare. You know what I mean? But he has 100 hand slap. He could just boom kill you like that. Um, but he's just not as good as the top four, right? I mean, but you can play him very simple. You know what I mean? Sometimes it feels like you got to kind of trade to get in. You know what I mean? Again, he's clear cut better than so many other characters, but he's also clear cut not better than the top four, right? But he definitely deserves to be in his own tier. And then after that, you get into the more real kind of game, perhaps. You know what I mean? So you have someone like the middle tier is these three characters, probably, right? You know what I mean? So you have, say, Yumi, Mizuguchi, and Samche, right? And Yumi is a little theoretical. Like, I can say I've actually played, like, some people think I only played Mizuguchi, but I actually used to play under fake accounts with lots of other characters just because, again, people wouldn't play me. I was beating them so bad, but I've played other characters. Yumi is a character I've actually never hit Yumi's infinite, and I've never seen anyone hit. Yumi does have an infinite, but I've never seen anyone actually kill with it outright. You know what I mean? She's a little bit theoretical, but she's also pretty good, right? She has a lot of just an air fireball. It's an old school game with an air fireball, dude, right? Um, Again, a lot of her strengths, you know what I mean? You can see her strengths, right? But some of her strengths are also a little bit of an asterisk mark theoretical. And she doesn't do huge damage besides this infinite, which I've never hit in a real match. I've never actually seen the Japanese ever hit it. I've never played with it. But even when it's not an infinite, it's pretty fucking stupid. I mean, you can do it on block, anything like that, right? She does have a good dizzy spot. She can hide her hitboxes a little bit as well. So she does take advantage of the game system in that way. But again, she's a little bit theoretical, but she's still, I think she's theoretically better than maybe Samche and Mizuguchi. Mizuguchi and Samche are kind of, they're like, you could probably switch either or depending on how you're thinking about it. If you're thinking about Samche, he doesn't have a good dizzy spot. You know what I mean? He eats hit. He can be comboed pretty easily, right? He's not like jigging out of like any of the dizzies. But he's just like a really solid character, kind of like how Gene has a lot of just, hey, dude, my fireball is so powerful and I can just anti-air you so easily. But he doesn't have a huge combo. He doesn't benefit from the game in that. He just benefits from, he's just so good at being simple. He has a good DP. He's just a kind of he's kind of a brain dead simple character that doesn't necessarily take advantage of the game in any way, so he's not actually top tier. Does that make sense? I mean, he takes advantage of the game in terms of just that he's simple. You know what I mean? But considering how some of the other characters are taking advantage of the game, not really. And he did his dizzy spot, his hurt box isn't saving him. But a simple character, hard to punish DP. You know what I mean? He's a kind of brain dead in that, but in a game with so much potential scrubbiness that feels stupid, he doesn't stand out. So he's just like, not as good as the characters above him, but clearly better than the characters below him, obviously. Then you have Mizoguchi, and who I've said Mizoguchi is actually an amazingly designed character, but he's mid tier. Is he better than, Samche? Maybe. But, he doesn't have a good dizzy spot, you know. But he does take advantage of the game in many ways. You know what I mean? He does have the DP that can technically, dizzy you outright almost. But his DP, although fast, is actually punishable. It's hard to punish, but his DP is actually not safe. His DP is punishable. His hurricane kicks are punishable from a lot of distances. A lot of stuff that people think you can't punish for some are punishable. He does have a lot of, he shows off the game system real well. He's probably the most complicated character in the game in terms of what you can actually do with him realistically. I mean, if people ever see me play, like again, within 2 weeks of the game, I was doing combo videos people said weren't possible. You know what I mean? I've showed it's possible. He does have some really big combos, insane combos. He's one of the only characters that can actually aim for dizzy spots realistically. But again, in the grand scheme of this thing, he can't hide his dizzy spot. His stuff is so much, actually harder. Again, he has a bit of a scrubby factor, no matter his DP, and even the simple versions of his combos are powerful. But again, look at the characters above him. They're just too good, right? You know what I mean? He can't compete with that. He's not doing that shit. Like, I mean, so you got to think about his character in the grand scheme of the games, right? And again, versus Samche, and again, Samche has a good fireball. You're talking about this game, Mizuguchi's fireball's ass, right? So he's a very interestingly designed character, but at the end of the day, in a game that has so much cheap shit, yeah, maybe he has a lot of stuff, but it's a game that has a lot of cheap shit, right, dude? So then after that, probably another big jump, and you get into the characters that are like, okay, dude, this stuff is iffy. Now these are the iffy tiers, right? This stuff is pretty set. I mean, it'd be hard for you to argue me against these characters, right? Then you have something like, man, it's hard to say, dude. It could be something like, why do I have two fucking Matlocks? What the fuck? Double vision. What the fuck is going? I had to make this thing 3 times. I don't. Anyway, let's say Matlock, maybe Clown. I mean, this is all iffy, dude. Like, cause you're getting into like a real iffy. It could be Mastori. Is Mastorius here? Is Mastorius there? I mean, again, you think Ray and Phelan are maybe the worst. Again, here's the thing. I'm up for almost any argument for any of these characters, right? I mean, I think Matlock and Clown are obviously better than probably these rest of the characters because Matlock is he's not good, but I mean, he's whatever. He doesn't have an infinite, and I actually have hit his infinite in a real match, so it is doable. And I mean, I'm sure if I know people are like, oh, don't say you're so full of yourself. I don't really, you know what I mean? I played the game for fun, right? And I was demolishing people, but maybe if I practiced as Matlock more, I might have been able to hit his infinite more. But I can tell you, even as much as I played, I have actually hit his infinite, so it is possible. But again, generally speaking, he doesn't do a lot of damage. He does have a lot of good priority normals, but dude, look at the characters above him. Look at the characters above him. I mean, when you get to these characters, let me put it like this. Yeah, they're competing with the B tier. But you got to remember, this is a tier. This is a big jump. These are big jumps. These first two things are a big jump between these tiers, dude, right? S and A are a big jump. This is a huge jump, right? So if that's a huge jump, look at these characters. That's how I'm trying to explain this to you. These characters fighting these three characters, you know what I mean? Not as huge of a jump, but this is not baby steps here. You know what I mean? This is clearly very, very fucking good characters, okay? So Matlock again, he doesn't take advantage of the game in any way, besides maybe some high priority normals, right? Clown, again, what does Clown have? Clown can hide his dizzy spot. Or no, I'm saying Clown can't hide his dizzy spot, but he can hide his hurt box. He can jiggy out of combos as well. But it's like his dizzy spot is so bad, so it's like, well, fuck. At least it's like at least if I get dizzy, it's like, well, at least I got something right. At least after I got dizzy, at least it's hard to kill me because I had my dizzy or I had my hurt box. I can jiggy out of a lot of combos. That's what he has, I guess, and he has a really good fireball. And again, if a character has a hard time getting around a fireball, that is something. In a game that has a lot of high priority normals with a lot of good fireballs, which is something again, say characters like Gene and Matlock really abuse. You know what I mean? Mizuguchi again, that's just one of his big in a game with very powerful fireballs and a lot of very powerful normals. Mizuguchi doesn't take advantage of that in any way whatsoever. But these characters actually do that a little bit, right? So that's something to have. But everything else in the game, like what are they doing, right? It's going to be a struggle. And then again, is Mastorius here? Maybe Mastorius is there. I mean, maybe. Mastorius is another character you could say that terrible, terrible dizzy spot, but actually maybe he has the best dizzy spot. And then one of the reasons he might have the best dizzy spot is even because even if you think about the game, like wow, you've dizzied him with just like tap 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 a little kick. Remember, when you hit a dizzy spot after that, even though the character can't be dizzied, you're doing extra every time you hit the guy after that. You're doing more damage if you hit their dizzy spot. So it's like even if you dizzy him fast, there's no reason to ever go for his like dizzy spot again. Generally speaking, right? Because why would you do that? So you're not getting any extra damage versus once you dizzy him, right? So if you're thinking about the game in that kind of scope, right? He is a big character. I mean, he's not, I mean, terrible jump. He has some stuff, but again, the game has just so many fucking good characters. Even fucking Mizuguchi's fireball is good versus Mastorius. I mean, that's pretty bad. But again, Mastorius, though, one thing he does have, though, is he does actually punish some moves that are very hard to punish. He can punish some of these moves that seem much harder to punish than versus other characters, right? Again, I say Mizuguchi is an example. Mizuguchi's a lot of this stuff is actually punishable. It's just hard to punish realistically a lot of the time, but it is. It's not safe. But say a character like Mastorius, he punishes it. So again, is he there or is he there? It's hard to say, dude, right? And then you have characters like Ryoko and Phelan. Ryoko is, oof, boy, I mean, she does, again, because of her command throw, she does actually punish stuff well, but it does no damage, right? I mean, but moves that are theoretically hard to punish, she doesn't have a hard time punishing them. But she has a terrible dizzy spot, a terrible hurt box. I mean, it's very possible that you just boom, you're dead. I mean, she can use the game to her advantage in a way that boom, she throws you a couple of times and you're dead. You throw caution to the wind, you might get some wins here and there. You know what I mean? She has some mix-ups. You know, she's not like it's a cheap game, right? You know what I mean? But God, you're talking about beating some of the top tier, dude. It's gonna be really fucking hard, dude, right? Some of these lower tier, it's gonna be real fucking hard. Phelan, Phelan is not a very good character. She even though she has a bad dizzy spot, she can jiggy and protect herself after that to get out of some combos. But in general, she's just not a very good character, dude. She has a fireball, I guess, right? But I mean, again, not a very good character. You can discourage her because of the way the game system works in a lot of ways. Um, just not very good, dude. What do you want me to say? It's hard to say who's worse. I mean, she doesn't have a big combo period. I don't know, she might be the weakest damaging. Is she the weakest? She might actually be the weakest damaging character in a game. And in a game where it can be important, man, is she? Maybe Clown. Nah, I don't know. Is Clown or Fit? Man, dude, I'd have to think about it. Is Phelan the worst? She's again. Anyway, dude, I don't know where Hentai Ox Mode dude is. I've actually never played him. I've actually never played him. That probably sounds weird. I don't know why I have two Matlocks on the screen, dude. I don't fucking know. But anyway, again, clear cut top four. Um, all super good. I'm sure you can make an argument for Zazzy as being the cheapest, not the best. And maybe you could even say maybe Karnov. Maybe you could say like Karnov, like if you're saying, oh, theoretically, well, you don't never want to get hit, so don't worry about the dizzy pot. But I'm gonna say Karnov's is the worst because of the dizzy pult. Gene in the next tier, clear cut, not as good as these characters, but clear cut better than all the rest of them. Then you have the mid tier. You know what I mean? The more legit, if you want to call them, characters. Um, and then again, C and D are very iffy, dude. I mean, maybe Matlock and Clown are the best of it. My story says iffy. Is he here? Is he here? You know what I mean? In my opinion, and Ryoko and Phelan probably the worst. But again, these are pretty iffy because again, this is hopefully you get what I'm saying if you've actually played the game and you know what I'm talking about anyway. And that's the Karnovs Revenge fucking tier list. God, I hope when I press stop, I hope this actually records correctly. Jesus fucking Christ. I could talk more about the game if you guys want, but anyway, the end.